So you're in the market to upgrade your tiny factory screen and you're looking out there to see what's available. Well, make sure you tune in because today we're talking about the new Horizon series from Stinger, along with other goodies when it comes to the source unit category. This is CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Stinger. And it starts now. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and you are tuned in to CMA Networks, where we talk mobile electronics day in and day out. On the menu today is Stinger Solutions, a relatively new candidate in this category. But let me tell you, they're down to their second, if not third generation of fully featured source units that we just got to talk about. And to help us on this journey, we've invited their trainer and product expert, Matt Palumbo, to join us. Matt, welcome again to Connected. This time we're talking source units for Stinger, and you've got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, Ben, we're super excited to be part of the source units category this year. I mean, the Horizon units really take things to the next level. So many cool features, so much integration. Speaking of integration, we're also talking a little bit of PAC today and some of the great audio integration that we can do with PAC, not to mention some of the vehicle-specific kits that we do with PAC and Stinger as kind of a collaboration. Tons of late model vehicles and coverage there. And then lastly, we're going to talk about the SPX M1, which is just a really cool all-around performer, great for power sports, marine, or any sort of just unique application.
Well, Matt, that certainly sounds like we've got our hands full for today's Connected. But first, a quick message from SiriusXM reminding you why it's always an amazing add-on sale. And when we come back, let's dive into the world of source units with Stinger Solutions. Don't you dare go away.
Hey, Paul here with SiriusXM, and I'd like to talk to you about attachment selling and why the SiriusXM product is one of the best things to add, especially since we don't trade dollars with any other category. I could go through all of this, but let's hear what some of our dealers have to say.
It's an easy add-on that takes, 10, 15 minutes if we're running an antenna, 1 minute if we've got an adapter to plug it into the factory SiriusXM antenna, and it's extra money. So, no brainer.
I present it to every customer because a lot of customers don't know what all they can do with Sirius. They don't know what all content they could have. It just makes too much sense not to sell it.
It creates a different customer loyalty and customer security when you explain to them why it's a better experience. Just gets them back in the door. And then the next car, they're already asking for it again. So it just keeps selling itself. It makes more sense.
Well, there you have it. You heard from our dealers. Just remember some of the best practices. Make sure you have one on display so you can demo it. Make sure you're taking advantage of our rewards program, because if you're not taking advantage of that, you're leaving even more money on the table. Make sure you got our POP up on display. And other than that, just make sure you're recommending it.
And welcome back to the show. Of course, we have our guest, Matt Palumbo. Matt, how you doing, brother?
I'm great.
And you know what? This is an interesting category because I kind of remember when Stinger wasn't even part of this category. That wasn't that long ago. But to see the evolution of Stinger and really dig into this category and evolve and push the envelope is really impressive to me. Of course, we're going to start off talking about the Horizon. But talk to us a little bit about Stinger in this category as a whole, because I'll be honest, back in the day when Stinger kind of got into this, they're like, is this a one-off? Obviously, that is not the case.
Absolutely. We started out with a unit called the Elevate, and the Elevate was unique. It was this kind of weird trapezoid shape, and what was cool is, with Stinger units, there's always something extra. There's always something special. And with the Elevate, for example, it could be flipped upside down. So if the shape this way was no good for you, you could flip it upside down and maybe it fit your dash better. Then we migrated on to the High 10, which is probably the most popular unit that we've had. That one lasted a few years there, and we really upped our game with integration with the High 10. And that's really where we got into, hey, we don't want to just have another big floating screen unit. We want to have units that actually mesh into your dash and look like they're supposed to be there. And that really brings us to today with the Horizon units and how well they blend into some of these modern dashboards. I mean, I think the biggest compliment we've ever gotten was at SEMA last year, where folks walked by the booth and said, wow, that must be the new OEM source unit in the modern Jeep Wrangler, when in fact it was a Horizon 12. That's a pretty big compliment.
And that is a total testament just to the resources that Stinger Solutions has on hand. We're going to get into integration and the whole thought process behind how the Horizon platform was built. So let's, out of the gate, the Horizon source unit is available in two different sizes, a 10-inch and a 12.8. A couple cool things I know you're going to get into is the flexibility, the design, and of course some of the features. So I'm going to let you go, guys. this is a brand new unit to market with a lot of different options you need to pay attention to, whether you're an audiophile, whether you're, you have an application like a Jeep, for example, that you want to get something big into. Matt, why don't you take away and tell us about the new Horizon Source units?
So with these Horizon units, Ben, I mean, the cool part is, like you said, they really do offer a ton. Our whole kind of theme with these units is that they're not just another big screen source unit. They're not just another floating tablet style screen. Now, they can be used as a universal platform and be put into pretty much any vehicle. But what I love about the Horizon platform is everything else that comes with it. Like you mentioned, you have a 10-inch design, the Horizon 10, and we have a 12.8-inch with the Horizon 12. Now, what's unique on the Horizon 12 is the fact that it can go portrait or landscape. So depending on the shape of the dashboard, you can actually do it either way. Now, both units share quite a few features. Mostly they have a lot of the same, with the 12 having a few unique applications and features there. But overall, as a whole, as a family, the Horizon family of units have some really cool features with things like integrated control of your lighting. So if you're using Stinger lighting or Race Sport color trail lighting, you can actually control it directly from the screen. Not only that, let's say you are maybe setting this up with some external accessories, things like a light bar or maybe air suspension, a train horn, whatever it may be. You have the ability to control up to 4 external accessories directly from your Horizon unit. Now, not only can you control those, you can set up how you want them controlled. Latch switches, momentary switches, naming the devices, putting different logos for the buttons, all that sort of stuff. And maybe, lastly, but potentially some of the most important parts are the audio performance. These units have 8 channels of RCA output. They've got an optical Toslink digital output for DSPs. And speaking of DSP, if you're using the audio control DSP, like our standalone DM810 or any of the D series amplifiers, you can actually set up, tune, and control those products directly from the Horizon units. That's right, they have DM Smart DSP built right in, so you can actually not even use a laptop or a tablet. You don't need it. You can do it all right from the Horizon units. It's pretty incredible.
I'm going to be honest with you, Matt. The list of features that the Horizon actually is capable of, especially from either connectivity or capability, is unbelievable. You've mentioned a few there. I want to go a little bit deeper than that. I want to comment on the DSP thing. Can I say that this is the only source unit I know of on the planet that actually integrates with a full-featured DSP application to be able to really dial? Just to be clear, guys, no longer do you need a tablet or a laptop or anything like that. You literally have full-feature control right on your screen. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did. I mean, it's pretty incredible. Not only does it give you full control, what I always like to point out is that it's not like a watered down version of the software, like, oh, it's DSP Lite from the head unit, but you still need your laptop to do all the cool stuff. No. Everything you can do on your laptop, you can do on the Horizon. It's really, really cool.
Crossovers, EQ, parametric, polarity, everything is on there.
Everything. Time correction,
unit,
all of it.
Beautiful.
You got
Amazing.
it.
Okay. That of course only works with the audio control, DSP amplifiers or standalone DSP, of course. Now, the other thing I want to mention here, a lot of an important deal for many people are cameras. And, Stinger and your umbrella products have a lot of different camera options. But to point out for the Horizon, how many inputs are we talking about for camera capability?
Yeah, so the Horizon family of units has 4 inputs, and those 4 inputs are able to be labeled and controlled independently. So you don't need any external switching or any extra parts.
That is amazing. Now, lastly, the other thing I wanted to touch on was data. You've got this large interface, whether it's the 10 or the 12, and a lot of these newer vehicles, incorporate the vehicle data from a factory perspective into the screen. How is Horizon handling that?
Yeah, absolutely. So for a lot of our customers, the biggest thing that they look at is how does this integrate into my vehicle? And of course, cosmetically, how it integrates is one side, and it's important, but the data integration is arguably more important. So we use our kind of, leverage our experience with the PAC side of things into these kits and make it so that we can actually see and control climate control information in a lot of vehicles. We can pull up things like, virtual gauges, off-road pages, performance gauges that you can customize and rearrange, not to mention just important info like which door is open, is the tire pressure low, check engine light on, things like that. So there's a ton of data. Basically, whatever we can harvest off of the vehicle's, data network, we're going to display it and control it if we can.
All right, that's amazing. Now, arguably, it's super cool to have a screen and be able to press all the buttons and the controls. But really, in today's world, it doesn't mean a whole lot if you can't get it into a car. And to do so, PAC has come up with, or Stinger has come up with a bunch of different application-specific kits that optimize the installation of this source unit into certain vehicles. So why don't you spend some time and talk to us about some of these PAC application-specific kits that are available?
Yeah, we've really tried to hit the top vehicles on the road here, Ben. So what we want to do is have a beautiful solution for all of the popular vehicles out there. Of course, are we ever going to hit them all? Probably not. But we've done a pretty good job of covering a lot of the really good ones. So, we just came out with an application for the 14 to 18 GM trucks, integrating our Horizon 12. We also have a Horizon 10 kit for that truck. For the Jeep category, Stinger has been synonymous with Jeeps for a while now, and we've done well there. So we have the Horizon 12 kit for the Jeep Gladiators, the JLs, the JTs, and even going back to the JKs with a floating screen design in those ones. And if you have a Jeep JL, for example, you could get either a Horizon 10 or a Horizon 12. We have two different kits for that truck. We've also got kits for the Ram trucks, the Tacomas, the 4Runners. The list goes on and on and on. But we're showing some really cool, examples of that here today, for sure.
Now, if you're just tuning in, we're talking about all different facets of the new Horizon platform coming from Stinger. We talked about some of the features, the connectivity, the capabilities. Now we're talking about even application-specific kits. And if you haven't seen these, take a look at those images. It's hard. If you're not familiar with the vehicle, I would say it's hard to tell that it's actually aftermarket. So really good job. Kudos to the engineering team, design team over at Stinger for that. Now, while we're on this topic, we're talking about PAC. We would be remiss if we didn't mention two hot new products that just launched from PAC. Is it source units? Not necessarily. It's integration. But man, these are so important to know about that you need to know. So we're talking about PAC Ampro kits with two of the most notorious platforms in the Bay today. We're talking about the brand new Bose style system from GM, as well as the notorious B&O system from Ford. So Matt, take it away. Talk to us about the new PAC options for these vehicles.
Absolutely, Ben. So like you said earlier, a big screen is cool and all, but in some vehicles, it's just not worth replacing, or it can't be replaced, or maybe it already has all the features they want. So why replace it if we're just looking to get better audio? That's where Ampro really comes into play. And then especially in some of these late model vehicles, you hop in a newer GM or newer Ford vehicle, maybe that in-dash screen is gorgeous and there's no reason to replace it. You just want better sound, and integrating with these Bose and B&O systems can be a real pain. So that's why we developed the AP4 FD32 and the AP4 GM81. We'll start with the Fords. So in the Ford camp with that FD32, this is the Ford vehicles with the A2B B&O system. So A2B is the communication network that's running to that factory B&O amplifier. For anyone who's ever tried to integrate with those, they know what a pain it can be. They know how bad it can potentially sound if not done properly. Ampro makes life so simple. Literally take out the factory amplifier, plug in this little T harness that it comes with, and our magic little black and blue box. And what you get out is RCA connections and a Toslink output to now run to your aftermarket amplifiers or DSP and amplifiers. And really what it does is gives you a flat, clean output. No hiss, no distortion, no whine, no door chimes that are too loud, no fighting with all pass filters or factory time correction, trying to defeat the factory equalizer or crossovers. All of that is taken out of the equation. and you just get outputs as if you had an aftermarket radio. It couldn't be better. And we offer that same solution for the GM guys. So the AP4 GM81 is going to cover a lot of your late model GM. And when I say late model, I'm talking 25 on up for GM, and that's going to be Bose A2B. And on that AP4 FD32, that's 23 and up Ford vehicles. And again, these are some of the most popular vehicles on the road. We're talking full-size Bronco, Bronco Sport, F-150, 250, 350, Ranger, Maverick. I mean, the list goes on and on.
All right, Matt, that is some big news. I know we covered it on live, but I think people just need to know that these solutions are now available. No longer do you have to say no to a customer to upgrade their sound. A solution is now here with PAC Ampro. All right, the last item on our conversation today, something I thought is really important, because we are talking source units, and of course we're always thinking, for cars. But Stinger also has a really nice piece to go into the marine power sports application. It's called the SPX M1, and I think this is a great opportunity to remind folks just the feature set and how valuable this piece is in the lineup.
Yeah, Ben, the SPX M1 is a really cool, just all-around performer. Like you said, I mean, it's maybe not what people traditionally think of when they think about a segment on source units, but it's an important unit, and it's something that I think a lot of people just kind of forget about. There's a lot of units out there that look similar, and we understand that, but the feature set is really what sets them apart. And so that's what we've done with the SPX M1. This is a all-around, all-weather source unit, to where this could be used in not just marine or power sports. I've got lots of shops out there using these in golf carts. I have a guy that builds custom barbecues that's using these. You could use this even in the back of a vehicle with the Pro Audio movement lately. Putting a separate source unit in the bed of the truck just to run the Open Show Pro Audio system is a cool way to go. The SPX M1 lends itself very well to that. And some of the cool features on it are, not only is it waterproof and has, AM FM tuner and Bluetooth and USB and all those things you'd expect, it also has a 4-output accessory controller. I know, sounds similar to the Horizons, right? That's because that's kind of where the idea came from. Is it has a 4-relay output, so you can control things like light bars, navigation lights, whatever the case may be on your side-by-side marine or just in your vehicle. One of the favorite parts I think about the SPX M1 is that we've even developed a couple of kits for it. So say you are a Jeep owner and you don't want a big touch screen. You just want something simple and clean and something that's going to be rugged and off-road capable. We actually make a double DIN kit for our SPX M1, so you can even install it into standard applications.
All right, Matt, I think we did a great job kind of giving the audience a roundabout examples of what Stinger has to offer within the source unit category. And for me, it clearly demonstrates not only how serious you guys are about this category, but you're thinking ahead and thinking about solutions. Because let's be honest, there's a lot of product out there which are kind of me too. Here's a big screen, on Amazon, all that type of stuff. But what those products don't have is the insight and the engineering to be able to deal with the integration side of things. And I think that is really clutch here. So I guess what I want to ask you is, how do you feel about this category for Stinger? Where do you see it going?
Yeah, absolutely, Ben. I think, with this, Stinger is absolutely committed to source units and infotainment. And for us, our big thing is we basically won't make something unless we can do integration with it. So if we were just going to make a source unit and it was just going to be a universal, we basically wouldn't bother. Well, we would only do it if we can also know that, hey, we could develop this to work in all these popular platforms. That's really where we want to head is going forward, we want things that are closer to an OEM experience, look like they came from the factory, and perform better than if they came from the factory. And that's really where Stinger's headed with all this, is both on the infotainment side with big screens and touch screens and all those cool features, as well as on the audio integration side with PAC and audio control and all of our brands. So, you take all of those things under the Stinger umbrella together and we can do some pretty amazing stuff.
I want to take this opportunity and thank my guest today, Matthew Palumbo from Stinger Solutions, coming in to talk about all these great new items and real demonstration of dedication that Stinger has towards this source unit category. Now, if you want more information on any of the products that we talked about, I would suggest you head over to the Stinger website shown here on the screen, stingersolutions.com. Now, I think the way that Matt wrapped that up was pretty much exactly what it is. There are a lot of source unit options out there, but the key is in the name, Stinger Solutions. And that is exactly what they're bringing to the table. Not only with an interface, but the solution for not only customers, but also dealers to upgrade the experience for these users. Regardless if you have an application where you could use the application specific kit, if you have customers that need certain features, well, I gotta say, if I had to write a checklist of all features that could possibly be available in a source unit, this Horizon platform pretty much checks them all. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.